Welcome to another installment of me waffling for an extended period of time. Let's get started. Welcome to Manhwa Adventures, the series where I share my horrible taste in manhwa in the hopes to get views. Today we're going to be going over GOSU, a manhwa deeply shrouded in martial arts. Now when starting this manhwa, I wasn't really sure on the type of story I would get. And that's mainly because I am the baddest bitch with no regard for the rules. And I didn't even bother reading the synopsis. But aside from my hot girl summer tendencies, GOSU shocked me in many ways, one of them being the art style. During fight sequences, GOSU showcases very detailed action involving hand-to-hand combat or different forms of martial arts, which are very satisfying, and after a few chapters I gain an appreciation for this manhwa and its art style. The main protagonist is first introduced to us in a cave, where his master tells him the stories of his past while training him in martial arts. His master details his accomplishments as a well-renowned martial artist who obtained the name the Absolute One. His master then begins to tell his disciple about how his comrades betrayed him, and not too long after, his master dies. After this, our main protagonist sets out on a journey to exact revenge on his former master's comrades, as this was his master's last wish. However, our young protagonist is then told they're all dead, and him sitting in a sweaty cave learning deadly martial arts techniques with an old man that probably smelled like the outer rim of a butt crack was all for nothing. And it was here the story began to unfold, and we were introduced to Chubby McChubbison, Chubbs, the Lion, the Witch, and the Kid Who Ate Dumplings All Day, the Dumpling Warrior, Dumplings Assemble, 101 Dumplings, Super Dumpling, and Dumpling Shippuden.
Damn, boy, he's thick! Boy, that's a thick ass boy!
I think that was a little too much. Well, after some time had passed and some weight had been gained, the protagonist just ends up living a normal life, delivering dumplings, and over time becomes the lovely chubby cub you see before you. The story then seems to just divide itself into mini story arcs that seem to serve no purpose into the overarching plot. However, as you continue through these chapters, we do get to see one or two reoccurring characters that seem as though they'll end up playing a role in the main storyline at some point. At some point in the story, the idea of his former master's enemies resurface, and the prospect of him fulfilling his promise to his master becomes greater and greater. From this point onwards, GOSU becomes increasingly interesting, as being the disciple of the Absolute Ones comes with no perks but these hands.
Fight back, nigga! Fight back, nigga!
The main character is essentially just Saitama's dumpling-loving little brother. The sheer power he holds in his fist is enough to change landscapes, to the point he's also known as the Beast of Yellow Dragon Mountain. I mean, the main character is so overpowered, to see him bleed is actually quite odd, and to even see him struggle during combat is a testament to how strong his opponents are, because defeating Dumpling Boy is about as possible as me crapping out bricks of pure solid gold. I mean, he's so overpowered that he can even intimidate a sadistic psychopath who goes around playing rock, paper, scissors to determine who lives or dies. Our Dumpling Boy is so terrifying that he played rock, paper, scissors with this guy. He played scissors first and waited for the sadistic psycho to crap himself due to the sheer pressure and forced him into playing paper. And if that ain't terrifying, I don't know what is. He even goes as far as to destroy a forest just to retrieve a friend that had been kidnapped. I mean, I get it, but it was a little overkill. Hashtag save the trees. My main incentive to even continue reading GOSU was the sheer scale of the action sequences. When faced with strong opponents, we know 10 times out of 10 our little dumpling will win. However, the scale of battles between strong opponents is truly mesmerizing and, quite frankly, dangerous. The one thing GOSU does extremely well is showcase intensity and danger during fights. When an attack with murderous spirit is deployed, the image shown is of our main protagonist riddled with holes. However, in the next page it shows him dodging the attack. But the previous page makes your heart sink into your chest, making you wonder if the protagonist would even survive with half his face blown to Kingdom Come, which further provides clarity on how truly lethal some of the strikes during combat can actually be. The story of GOSU is really straightforward. However, because of this, it allows multiple elements to be added and altered to make a well-rounded story and present character traits that I never really thought about until they were brought up in the story. For example, having initially quit his mission and becoming a dumpling delivery boy, even if his master's enemies happen to be alive, does defeating them serve any purpose anymore? And does our main protagonist have the resolve and conviction to actually finish off his enemies after being secluded away from life and death situations and living a peaceful life? It begs the question, what is the character thinking? What are his reasons for devoting himself to his master's wishes so blindly? If his master's comrades now lead a righteous life, will our protagonist still have the conviction and resolve to strike them down? These are the questions GOSU leaves me asking, and however grand and beautiful the fight sequences are, it does not take away from the realistic fact that the protagonist could end up dead trying to fulfill his master's selfish wishes. All in all, GOSU's art, characters, and unique fight sequences really drew me in and made me invested in not only the final battle of this manhwa, but it also made me invest into the character and who he truly is, and if he would even live up to the expectation of his master and become the new Absolute One. I mean, what I'm trying to say is just read it. Read it now! And for the most part, I don't think you would regret being visually stimulated and wanting to see a dumpling-loving protagonist beat the brakes off some snakes. Well, that's it for this video and for the first installment in the Manhwa adventure series. Subscribe and like if you're new, that would really help me out. And without further ado, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Anime License out.